I'm Sandra Roach, your Dream Accelerator and professional life coach to young adults and millennials. And I am so glad that you decided to join me today as we discuss one of my favorite groups of people, the millennials. Did you know that there are over 80 million millennials in the United States today? And with this diverse group of individuals, there are many expectations and ways to connect with them. It is my heart-centered mission to help you set goals, track progress, and move towards your individual success. So during this webinar, we will discuss how to capture the millennial dollars. Stay tuned. Hello, everyone. I'm so glad that you connected with me. Today, we are really going to talk about how to boost your revenue and increase your profit by marketing to millennials. Let me give you a brief background about myself. My name is Sandra Roach. I'm a coach and a mentor to millennials. I've taken the information I've gathered over the years in working with them through my company, The Tutoring Tree. The Tutoring Tree has been in existence for about 7 years now, and my clients range in ages 3 to 63. I have also taken my analytical side from being an engineer, and I've combined this to put together the traits on how you can connect with millennials. My journey as an engineer, educator, and entrepreneur qualifies me to talk to you because I am currently doing it in my business. I am a millennial. Every day I find new ways to connect with my clients, and every day I show them that I care. So today, what I want to do is take you through the 7 keys on how to connect and engage millennials. Millennials are a group of individuals that companies are really struggling with, how to connect with them. So I am going to give you 7 bullet keys that can show you and help you in your marketing. What we want to do is help you build the relationship, the business to millennial relationship, B2M. And that's what we're going to do during this training. So let's be clear about who we're marketing to. Millennials are born between 1980 and 2000, which means the youngest would be about 16, 17-ish, and the oldest would be about 36 today. And they are the first generation of digital natives, which means they practically were born with a smartphone in their hand. They grew up in a time of computers, iPods, iPads, emails, and that's definitely a different way of growing up. Being a millennial myself makes me an expert because I know what my values are and my attitudes and how I like to spend my money. So I look forward to sharing my experiences with you during this webinar. So here I want to share a few things. I've looked at Goldman Sachs and what the big companies are saying about millennials. However, let me share what I've found. Besides being dedicated to wellness and being accustomed to instant access, I found that with my everyday interaction with millennials, they adult differently. They have their own style of adulting. And also, another thing I've found is that the parents of millennials have not allowed them to make their own decisions, to find their own way. So this group of individuals are accustomed to getting directions from parents, feedback from social media, and advice from peers. And so this can create, some issues. And one of those issues would be being unfocused and distracted. So being unfocused and distracted. When you're constantly getting information from all over the place, sometimes it's tough to decipher whether it's coming from you or just someone else's opinion. And growing up, remember you've heard your parents say, "You think you know it all." Well, That's the fact with millennials. With technology at their fingertips, they're practically experts on everything. Literally, if you want to find information about food, what do? You either Google it or you Bing it, and what comes up? Over 3 billion options. So that is great. So whatever you need to know, you can just look it up. And so through the Kia syndrome that I created, it lends to and it expounds on the whole know-it-all syndrome. I know growing up when I needed help, or if I needed to do something or need to purchase something I need a little help with, I always could count on my parents and family members. And that's great, but sometimes that can lead to another issue of no accountability. When your parents and family are constantly coming to your rescue, that can present the sense of where, hey, I can do this, and this may happen or may not, but someone's going to help me. So these are the 3 issues that can come up with millennials. And let me be clear, this doesn't describe all millennials, but it is the case for a majority of them. So today we are going to discuss the 7 keys to connect and engage with millennials. And so the first one, we will discuss how to connect, figure out how to target them, what they're into, their interests, why they enjoy freedom so much, the different groups that they tend to gravitate towards, their lifestyle choices, millennial expectations, and advertising. We're going to discuss and touch briefly on each of those topics today. Remember, you've heard of business to consumer relationships. So today we will focus on the business to millennial, the B2M relationship. Here's a fact. 85% of millennials own smartphones. And 97% of text messages are responding within the first 3 minutes of receiving it. So literally, if you send a text message right now, there is a 97% chance it will be answered within the first 3 minutes within being sent. Please keep this fact in the back of your mind during the duration of this webinar, because it is a very, very important point. Number 1, how do we connect with millennials? Well, great question. You connect through mobile marketing. 87%, 85% of them own smartphones. So you would definitely need to make sure you have some sort of mobile marketing in your company. Millennials are constantly searching, lighting, and tweeting. And some of the familiar, very popular social media platforms out there are Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, Twitter. So you definitely, that's where they are. And also when it comes to your company website, you want to make sure your landing page of your website is optimized for mobile phones. And the graphic on your website needs to be quick, simple, and crisp. You don't want the graphics to be too intense. You literally have about 10 seconds to capture a millennial's attention. So you want to make sure it counts. And also on your website, you want to make sure that there's a clear call to action. And a clear to action just simply tells your audience what you want them to do. For example, sign up today, register for my webinar on marketing to millennials, download this cool website or this cool gadget. Millennials are about movement. They want you to tell them what they need to do, and they gather up the truth and they go. And that's what they do. So a company that did a great job with marketing to millennials, I would say, was Chipotle. Chipotle, I had remember this time with the scare with everything else going on with Chipotle. I actually asked one of my clients what what they were having for food. And they said, I'm going to have Chipotle. I'm like, oh, with everything going on with Chipotle, you're going to still go over there? And his answer alarmed me. He said, well, I'll go over there until it kills me. And I thought, wow, talk about loyalty. Millennials are very loyal. And what Chipotle did right is that they created an experience that millennials could participate in and develop shareable content. So that's Chipotle, and that's what they did correctly and how to connect with millennials. Number 2, when you're marketing to millennials, you definitely want to target social groups and not life stages. Growing up, millennials are the most non-traditional generation to date. Growing up, we're accustomed to, let's say, graduating high school, going off to college, graduating college or a trade school or some type of certification program. Upon graduation, you go and work for a company. So you work for a company 10, 15 years, 30 years for some people, and then you go off to retire somewhere south in beautiful Florida. Well, with millennials, that is not the case. Remember earlier I said that millennials adult differently, and that's exactly what they do. They're not caught up in life stages. And for instance, a life stage would be considered single or a college grad or a parent. Millennials think those are labels. They don't like being labeled. They like being thought of as individuals. So catering to their unique experience. And a great example is I have one of my clients who graduated from high school and was on her way to college, but she decided not to go straight into the university. She decided to study abroad in Israel instead, and bask in that experience, and then came back and finished up her college career in the United States. So my thing is, there's different ways to get what you want, and it doesn't have to be a set route. And that's what millennials have tapped into. They do adult differently. And also their views on community and family, they're very important. Millennials think friends are family. So they are definitely into that, and you want to make sure you're providing that type of experience. And a company that did a great job to marketing to millennials by targeting their social group is AT&T. They followed millennials and created an ad that spoke directly to a personal moment in their life. Millennials love freedom, and don't we all love freedom? And that has to do with time, freedom of location and flexibility, and just convenience in general. So when we say location independent, most of the time we're accustomed to a 9 to 5. Millennials like flexibility in their schedule and just the ability to be able to be control of your own time. So having a company, or there's a lot of entrepreneurs that's kind of doing that, because you have a flexibility of your time, space, you can travel, you can literally have your laptop and your cell phone and start your own company and business. And that's very, very important. Another thing, millennials love being recognized, and they have the need to be affirmed. And whenever you're working with millennials, whether it's in your company or just interacting with them, they love feedback. Don't we all? Let's say you're in a company and you're working on a project. Wouldn't it be great to know how you're doing? Especially, like I mentioned earlier, when you're constantly used to getting feedback from your parents, just advice here and there. In the company and the setting of a company, if you're working on a project, you want to know if you're doing well. And if you're not doing well, what the steps needed to take in order to do well. So the constantly just being wanting to be affirmed is very, 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 very important. And a company that did a great job of catering to the freedom mentality of millennials is Uber. All right, I'm sure everyone out there has at least heard of Uber or actually took a ride with an Uber, or who knows, you're probably working with Uber. And Uber gives that sense of flexibility. It gives millennials a chance to share and just share in this economy in general. So what Uber did right, they made it incredibly convenient, incredibly easy to find a ride and pay for it with your smartphone that we also happen to have. Number 4, millennials are into groups. Millennials in general are driven by social cause. They tend to follow brands that give back. And right now, companies that are doing a great job with that are Tom. What they do, what they allow millennials to live the story and align themselves with a brand that has a cause. And before, when I mentioned they're all about movement, they're into the environment, going green. So most of the time you'll see millennials walking or carpooling or on their bikes and going green. Companies like Whole Foods and Trader Joe's, organic, they're into that and social causes, because at the end of the day, we have this earth is their future. So we want to make sure we're doing our part in the present to ensure a brighter future. So with the whole being exposed and just doing everything that we need to do right now in the present is really a huge thing with millennials. And also just giving back to other people's. And like I mentioned before, Tom's, for every shoe that you purchase, they give a portion of proceeds to someone without a shoe. So that's very, very important when it comes time for catering to the group in general. Millennials follow people and celebrities and exposure. They like exposure to people and the lifestyles. And with the internet and just everything in general and media and television, it makes it so easy to figure out what everyone else is doing. So let's say you're into somebody or you have a person that you're following. You get to look at their lifestyle. Everything is open. Reality TV. And with millennials, when you see it on television, you think that you can do it as well. So you've heard the whole, we want it fast, and that's what it is. When you see it, you're thinking, hey, it's attainable, so let me try it. And so when they're looking at and following celebrities and lifestyles and just people in general on reality, but they're just common people. And so they're like, okay, what are they into? So whatever so even product placement in these shows would be really, really great. And a company that did a great job with catering to millennials is Netflix. What Netflix did right, they recognized the evolving lifestyles of millennials and change with them. Imagine the convenience of not having to always go to the movie theater. You have movies and you pay a fee per month. I think it's about $7.99 or $8.99, and you can watch something in the comfort of your home. You really can. So just catering to the whole lifestyle of wanting to be free and location independent. All you need is a cell phone, you need a laptop, and you can plop up underneath a tree somewhere and watch a movie. All you need is Wi-Fi as well. And so with me, with Netflix, when I first heard about Netflix a few years ago, I was thinking, wow, this is pretty cool. They even had a opportunity where you can actually mail in your CD or DVD to watch the movie. And I thought that was really, really incredible. Right now, even with my children, we don't even have a television in our house. we have Netflix and Hulu accounts because they're so convenient. You pick a movie with no commercial and you just sit there and you can watch it whenever, anytime, anywhere. And that is catering to a specific lifestyle of millennials. And so hats off to Netflix and companies that are similar to that, that's catering to millennials' lifestyles. And another thing, as far as millennials, we want the information to be relevant. Relevant means, how does it work for me? How does it solve a problem for me? And that's very, very important when it's coming time to making the choices of where you want to spend your money, and that's very, very important. Number 6, expectations. Well, like I said, with the internet at your fingertips, millennials want to make sure that whatever you're putting out there, it's telling the truth, and they can research. They research everything, and because everything's at their fingertip, it's online. So whatever you're putting out there, they're not concerned about, numbers here and there. They're more concerned about personal experience, how everything's going on. So whatever you're putting out there, you have to make sure you're able to back it up, because everything is online. They want to be able to, you said you've served this many people or you've done this. They want to be able to look it up online, because that's where everything is, online. And as far as expectations, you want to make sure whatever product that they're thinking about purchasing, it needs to be able to solve a problem. It needs to be a solution to a problem. And remember, let's say you're about to wash your clothes, and there was a day where you're packing up the whites, you're separating the clothes, whites, colors, your jeans, your towels, your sheets, and you're lugging all this stuff. And then you need your detergent, you need your fabric softener, bleach, dryer sheets. And sometimes that can be a hassle, just grabbing all that stuff. And a company that did a great job catering to millennials is Tide. Tide did it right. They saw the need for millennials and create a marketing message to back it up. Have you seen the Tide Pods? They are so convenient. No more lugging around big boxes of detergent or bottles of detergent liquid. You just pop the little pods in the washing machine and that's it. Imagine how convenient that is. Remember we said convenience? So that solved the problem to the whole heavy carrying all that extra stuff by just having the pot. And that's exactly what Tide did correctly in their marketing. Number 7, last but certainly not least, how do you market to millennials? With 95% of their referrals coming from their friends, it's very, very important. Remember when I said that friends are like family to them? They're more concerned about, all right, what your experience was. So what was my sister's experience? What was my best friend's experience with a specific company? Because they think of them as credible source. And that's one of the number one ways they do it is through word of mouth. And you want to make sure, another way let's say through reviews, if you have your information online, they go through the reviews really fast to see what those comments are, 1 stars, 2 stars, 5 stars. And as you're looking at the reviews and seeing what other people's experiences are, they will make the decision on whether to go to that vacation destination or go to that hotel or go to that restaurant based on reviews. And then let's say you go into a town. I have a friend of mine who travels quite often. And he says that before the first time he goes into a city, before he goes to any restaurant, he goes online and check out the reviews. That is number one. He checks out reviews. And that's if his friend is not available. So if he doesn't know anyone that hasn't been to a specific restaurant or visited that city, the next thing is to go into the reviews. And then lastly, if he looks at advertisement. But nowadays, people aren't really trusting advertisement. They're relying more on credible sources like their friends or family. And remember, millennials share everything. Friends are family. And sharing is caring because the deeper sources, there's the whole trust issue. All right, they want to make sure they trust you, so they trust their friends and their comments. And they're most likely to buy if there's good reviews and if someone had a good experience. And a company that did a great job of that is Coca-Cola. Coca-Cola even, they had a Share a Coke campaign. Because millennials are into sharing, they have bottles that are personalized to customers. Isn't that great? So they even they created a website that wrapped around this campaign of Share a Coke. And that lets the customer discover facts about their names, order customized bottles, and find out event dates for Share a Coke tour. And what Coca-Cola did right was made its products personal and customizable. So we've covered the 7 keys, and here's what I want to ask you. In a perfect world, if I could give you the tools you needed, if I could show you how to connect and engage with millennials, so it would, 1, increase your bottom line by increasing your profits, attracting more clients and customers. What would your company be like? What would you be like? And how would you profit from that? Now, here are your options. Yes, you can try to tackle this and do it by yourself. But why waste time and money? You need both. You need time and you need money. I've done the research. This is what I do every day at the tutoring tree. I'm able to engage through my coaching and mentoring. I'm actually touching all the life stages that the millennials are in right now in the 21st century. And by hiring me, I can reduce your learning curve, increase your profits, and get you connected faster than you can by yourself. It's all about clarity, acquiring tools, and taking action. So if you're all about taking action, let me show you how you can do that. So within 90 days, you will be able to recognize the current life stage and why it is important when marketing to millennials. You will identify the best platforms to use when marketing, categorize millennial types, and find different tools, the most effective tools to increase your customer base by creating a marketing blueprint. So here we go. I'm including a fast action offer if you enroll during this webinar. I will not only include this awesome course that is normally $497 for only $297, but I will also include a bonus strategy with me. Think about it. You have been on this entire presentation. You've been on a while now. You've watched this entire thing. You want to market your business to millennials in a way that get them to know, like, and trust you. And you know that this is an excellent value. So let's recap. By the end of this course, you'll be able to recognize current life stage and why it's important when marketing to millennials. Identify the best platforms to use when marketing. Categorize millennial types, create effective marketing tools. You will be able to pinpoint the best ways to increase customer base. And you will also design your marketing blueprint for increased traction and conversion. So take advantage of this incredible discount and sign up today and begin to learn how to increase your sales by connecting with millennials.